Every time you ask ChatGPT a question, your electric bill ticks upward, not because of what you pay for the service, but because the AI data centers answering you are pushing the entire US power grid to its breaking point. That innocent query consumes 1,000 times more electricity than a simple web search. And as millions of us use AI every day, utilities are scrambling to build billions in new plants and power lines. The bill? It's landing on your doorstep. This is the story of how AI's insatiable hunger for energy is reshaping America's grid, and why your monthly bill is the canary in the coal mine. So you want to ask an AI to generate a picture of a cat wearing a tiny hat. Cute, right? But here's what your phone isn't telling you. That one little prompt can gobble up 1,000 times more electricity than a regular web search. Not a typo, 1,000 times. In 2024, data centers across the US collectively consumed around 200 terawatt-hours of electricity. That's enough to power the entire country of Thailand for a full year. And the chunk that's just for AI? Between 53 and 76 terawatt-hours, enough to power over 7.2 million American homes. And this is just the beginning of the AI boom. By 2028, total data center electricity use is projected to double or triple, potentially consuming up to 12% of the entire nation's electricity. That's a staggering leap. But the US grid was never designed to handle this kind of concentrated, always-on demand. So what happens when we push it past its limits? That's next, the grid's breaking point. AI might feel like magic, but behind every chatbot response is a real-world power grid that's starting to buckle. In some parts of the country, new data centers face a 7-year wait just to get connected. That means a facility breaking ground today might not power up until 2032. The interconnection queue is backed up for years, and the backlog is growing. Thousands of projects are just sitting there, waiting. And the strain isn't just about paperwork. In July 2024, a voltage fluctuation in Northern Virginia, the global capital of data centers, triggered the simultaneous disconnection of 60 data centers. In an instant, the grid had a 1,500 megawatt power surplus. Operators scrambled to rebalance, shedding load and firing up backup plants just to keep the frequency stable. It nearly caused a cascading blackout. That's not a hypothetical. That happened. And analysts at Gartner now predict that power shortages will restrict 40% of AI data centers by 2027. 40%. The infrastructure simply can't keep up. So utilities are racing to build new power plants and transmission lines at a breakneck pace. But here's the catch. In the utility business, the cost of new infrastructure doesn't just disappear, it gets passed on. Every new substation, every mile of high-voltage line, shows up as a line item on your electric bill. And with AI's appetite growing, those line items are about to multiply. The bill is coming. Next up, the bill arrives. In 2025, residential electricity prices rose 7.1%, more than double the rate of inflation. And projections show they could climb as much as 40% by 2030 compared to today. Near data center clusters, the pain is even sharper. A Bloomberg investigation found wholesale electricity costs have surged as much as 267% in those areas over the past 5 years. As Harvard's Ari Pesco puts it, utilities are building infrastructure, and then we all pay for it because that's how the utility business model has always worked. And yet, even as our bills climb, big tech keeps telling us their data centers are powered by renewables. But if they're so green, why does the grid still need more fossil fuel plants? And why are emissions still so high? The answer lies in a clever accounting trick, a trick called renewable energy certificates. It allows companies to claim they're green by buying credits for faraway solar farms, while their local grid still burns coal and gas. Their carbon footprint vanishes on paper, but not from the atmosphere. Next, we uncover the carbon accounting mirage. From 2020 to 2022, the real emissions from the in-house data centers of Google, Microsoft, Meta, and Apple were likely 662% higher than officially reported. That's 7.62 times the stated figure. The gap comes from renewable energy certificates, or RECs. Companies buy credits for clean energy generated far away, while the actual electricity powering their servers still comes from the local grid, which in 2024 was 40% natural gas and 15% coal. As the Uptime Institute notes, Location-based accounting gives an accurate picture of the emissions associated with the energy that's actually being consumed. And by that metric, the cloud is far dirtier than the industry admits. But this isn't just an environmental issue, it's a geographic one. Energy-hungry data centers are clustering in specific regions, and the people living there are paying the steepest price, while the benefits flow elsewhere. Communities in Virginia now see over a quarter of their electricity gobbled up by server farms, while their own bills skyrocket. And that brings us to the real gamble. Utilities are betting billions on a phantom boom that might never come. Next up, the phantom boom gamble. In Virginia, data centers already consume a staggering 26% of the state's entire electricity supply, and that number is only growing. For rural communities nearby, wholesale prices have skyrocketed by as much as 267% over the past 5 years, yet the high-tech jobs and AI benefits remain concentrated in far-off cities. There's a fundamental disconnect. The energy burden is placed on local residents, while the profits and productivity gains accrue to tech giants and distant urban centers. Some call it a new form of energy colonialism. But the biggest risk might be the financial gamble. Utilities are spending billions on new plants and transmission lines based on the assumption that AI demand will keep exploding. If the AI bubble cools, or if more efficient chips flatten the curve, those investments could become stranded assets. And once again, residential ratepayers would be left holding the bag. The next time you type a prompt, you're not just getting an answer, you're betting on a future that might not come, and the bill is already on its way. So next time you see a flashy AI demo, remember, that spark of genius is actually a spark on the grid. The cloud has a very real, very dirty footprint. In fact, AI isn't magic, it's a megawatt. If you enjoy these deep dives into the hidden costs of our digital lives, subscribe and hit the bell. We'll keep pulling back the curtain.